From Beirut, Haytham Faraj joins us. He is a lawyer and retired Marine Corps officer. Thanks very much for being with us. So let me ask you, first of all, just broadly speaking, what do you make of what we have seen in the region over the last few days? There was so much discussion about whether this conflict would escalate and the danger of escalation, and we are seeing that now in real time.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me, Hazem. It's a pleasure to be with you during a very difficult time in the region. The escalation was certain to happen starting about 2 weeks ago. I think everyone saw it coming. And the escalation for the people living it is as intense as it gets. It's full-on war, although perhaps Jaffa, known as Tel Aviv, and Beirut are not being bombed. Dahya al-Janubiya, which is the southern suburb of Beirut, is experiencing tremendous attacks, as well as various parts of the Bekaa Valley and southern Lebanon. And so it's an all-out war. It's an all-out war by every measure, except that both sides are, well, let me fix that. Except the Israelis are not attacking Beirut, and Hezbollah has done a very good job at avoiding civilian casualties. Other than that, I think we are in as intense a conflict as it gets at this point.
If we could talk a little bit more about Hezbollah. Iran has given indications in diplomatic circles that it does not want to escalate this. Where does that leave Hezbollah then?
You know, I don't think the axis of resistance has ever depended on necessarily one side fighting on behalf of the other. I don't speak for Iran, but I'm not surprised that Iran has not joined the fight, because that means a wider regional conflict, a wider regional war that's not in anyone's interest. The U.S. doesn't want it. Iran doesn't want it. The people in the region doesn't want it. There's only one person that wants it, and that's Benjamin Milikowski. You all know him as Benjamin Netanyahu. He wants a wider regional war so he can have a reason to attack Iran and perhaps Iran's nuclear capability through U.S. means, forces, and so on. And so, you know, again, I don't speak for Iran. I don't know why Iran makes the decisions that it makes, but it's clear to me that the decisions are to avoid a wider regional conflict. And that said, I think Hezbollah, what we know of them, are very capable of meeting their objectives. In the end, this is a resistance and liberation movement. It does not have to seize or control territory. It only has to attrit its enemy. It has to destroy its enemy. It only has to inflict casualties. And we've seen those types of movements have great success, even against U.S. troops in Afghanistan and Iraq and Vietnam before that. And so you don't have to have a lot of military power in order to be able to attrit your enemy, you know, with a force, a conventional force like the Israelis. And so I think Hezbollah is going to continue to be a capable force at deterring a full Israeli invasion of Lebanon. How far they go, I'm not certain. I think the Israelis this morning, when they announced that they're only going to move in, you know, 1 kilometer or 5 kilometers or whatever it is, it was to prepare their public. It wasn't for, it wasn't a clear statement of their objectives. I think if they could get all the way to the Litani River and beyond, they would. But by under representing what they want, when they have success, they'll claim that, you know, they made success. But when they find resistance, firm resistance, they can say, well, look, our objective was only 1 kilometer, and you know, we weren't planning to go any further.
What do you make of the Israeli position, the U.S. position on this? They have said that they want both sides to work towards a ceasefire, but they remain broadly supportive of Israel's actions against Hezbollah.
Yeah, I think Andy earlier on your program was, you know, framed it correctly. Look, there is no U.S. leadership. And I don't think it's because there's elections. I don't think the policy will change. Harris and Trump are two sides of the same coin. Let's not kid each other. They might have different views on domestic policies, and I know they do. But when it comes to international issues, especially Israel and the rest of the region, they're both falling over each other, trying to declare their love and their support for Israel. So let's not mince words and let's just say it how it is. Biden, I don't know that he's capable of making decisions. Again, just say it how it is. We don't have to be diplomatic. He is not in a position to lead. He's not in a position to make clear statements. But that said, there is an institution in the United States, and that's the Defense Institution and the State Department that are in favor of destroying Hezbollah, even if it's at a cost of great civilian casualties. And so the U.S. position can best be framed as one of full support of the Israeli operation without creating such a civilian catastrophe that it turns the world against the U.S. and Israel. I think that's the best way I can sum it up. I think the U.S. is probably encouraging Israel. I think the U.S. is probably supporting Israel. I wouldn't be surprised if U.S. aircraft participated in the attack on Dahia that killed Sayyid Nasrallah. There is definite cooperation. And so the U.S. is, I'm sure, happy with the results and probably a bit surprised by the success of the recent assassinations. I also want to say one thing. I'm sorry, I'm going off topic. I want to correct something that Andy said, since we discussed Andy. Andy said that Hezbollah began to launch rockets at Israel on October 8, 2023. And that's a widely held view, and it's wrong. Hezbollah began to fire rockets at Shib'a Farms on October 8, 2023, which you, with Muhammad earlier today, acknowledged is occupied Lebanese territory. So on October 8, Hezbollah did not launch rockets into Israel. They launched rockets at Israeli troops in occupied Lebanese territory. Israel responded by launching rockets into Lebanon, and that's why you have the wider escalation. And so I think those facts are really important, because the same facts were stated in the Washington Post 2 days ago by one of their correspondents, who says, Hezbollah started all of this by firing at Israel, and they did not. They were firing at Israeli troops occupying Lebanese territory, which is recognized as Lebanese from 1923. That's the blue line, and there's no dispute about that. So I want to make that clear as we go forward in our conversation. I hope you don't mind that I took those 30 seconds.
No, that's fine. Good to get your perspective on this, Haytham Faraj. For the moment in Beirut